So, we're going to do things a little bit differently today. At the end of the, last month's podcast, we promised that we would discuss the Nintendo Switch 2, so we're going to do that. But we also have some post-draft NFL stuff that we want to get to. And you know what? There's also some random BS that I feel like talking about. So, we'll just throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks, have a little fun. But let's get into it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
All right, so like I said, it's going to be random. However, let's try to kind of stick to an arena of topics. By the way, Eric, thank you for joining me. Haven't seen you in a bit. How you doing, buddy?
Happening.
Yeah. How you doing?
Good. I'm fighting for my life against this stupid new cat.
What? You a pussy's trying to kill you? He's trying to get you?
I made the worst mistake of my life.
I mean, dude, you know you're allergic to cats. Why do you keep getting cats? They also lower your testosterone. They also lower your testosterone. Just saying. Chuck Dominguez.
But he's so cute.
I can hear your testosterone dropping, man. Chuck Dominguez.
You stupid cat.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So, like I said, we're gonna do things a little bit differently. However, let's kind of try to keep like topics in a certain arena, because I'm probably just gonna cut up this video and make several podcasts. So we're gonna do like, I don't know, we're gonna talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 because we promised we would talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 last time. So let's kind of keep like a video game window. Then we talk about the NFL. That'll be the NFL sports window. And then we can talk about random BS. I mean, it is Otaku Tuesday technically, so we could talk anime and stuff. So if we want to. So it could be random topics. Throw them anywhere. In fact, Chuck wants to know, how's married life treating you?
You know, it's pretty good so far. Haven't noticed much of a difference yet, except apparently it comes with new cats.
There you go. And they're trying to kill you. So let's get started here a little bit with the Nintendo Switch. Or is there something else you want to begin with?
Oh, I like the Switch.
You like the Switch too? All right, so let's get started with the Nintendo Switch 2.
Or do I? Maybe that's the thing.
So Nintendo has announced the much anticipated release of the sequel? No, it's not sequel. Of the next generation console, the Nintendo Switch 2. And it is controversial to say the least. Now, I do want it because it does have a lot of features that seem really cool. Basically, it looks like they're saying it's the Switch, but better, right? And I love the Nintendo Switch. It was phenomenal. I loved it. However, I can't justify the price because I haven't seen many games that have attracted me to it. So I'm like, do I want it? Yes. Mainly because I want to keep playing. I want to play the games that I have in my Nintendo Switch right now, but better. However, I mean, I also want a longer battery life, all that stuff. However, I can't justify getting it because the only game that I'm really interested in would be Metroid Prime, the first-person shooter Metroid Prime that they announced. Other than that, I don't really care much. Also, Nintendo has gone fucking insane trying to charge you $80 for a game and $10 on top of it for physical copies. So to me, they've lost the plot. Nintendo games, and it's not like I can wait for the value to drop because Nintendo games don't drop in value. So it's just madness. And I'm worried that this is actually going to end up breaking the video game industry in general. Like other people are gonna be like, oh, we can charge $80 for a video game now? Let's start doing that. So I don't like it. I don't like that particular part. However, I do want it, but I would probably still get the Stream Deck first. How do you feel about it?
All right, this may be a nuclear hot take.
Nuclear.
Yes. Actually, nuclear's pretty hot, right?
Yes.
You see this spray bottle? Get out of here, cat.
Getting your pussy wet?
God damn, dude.
All right. Gus Becerra, thank you for joining us. Gus wants to know if you're going to be a mom yet.
Already kind of am.
Chuck is worried that you lost your man card. And yeah, Chuck agrees. Game consoles are already expensive as fuck. So what were you saying? What's your nuclear hot take?
Gaming has been the cheapest form of entertainment for a very, very long time, and it makes no sense that a game has been $60 ever since like the mid 2000s.
By the way, Trey leaning to the other side. There you go. That's a little bit better. So it makes no sense that it's been that cheap.
No, not economically.
So you're
Especially considering that the prices for making games has gone up dramatically.
so
And
you're
this is part of the reason why we keep getting things like freaking crazy DLCs and microtransactions and freaking live service games and all these other ways so that the companies can actually make back the money that they invested to make the game.
so let me get this straight. You're upset that you haven't spent more money?
Oh no. I'm happy with it. It's just I completely I completely understand. Eventually this had to change. Eventually games were just gonna have to become more expensive. How can everything else in life has become more expensive? How can this not also follow the trend just because of inflation?
Well,
Now,
here's my counterpoint.
I do think some games, this is also something that goes on in Hollywood, have overbloated budgets, especially AAA games. So, a game like Assassin's Creed, nowadays those games, they're slop. They're just they don't really change, but they're very much between entries. So for the most part, is that worth $80?
So we can talk
No,
about
it's barely worth $60.
so
But I used to I'm actually a pretty big gaming historian because I like looking into since Atari and all that shit. So
gaming
hey,
historian. Like you check the Wikipedia page or something.
No, but I've seen a lot of videos about the Magnavox Odyssey 12, motherfucker. Have you
Fair
ever
enough.
seen the Vectrex?
Never.
It's actually pretty badass. You should look into it. Anyways, games used to be different prices, just
Yes.
based on the developer, based on which console it's for. Like this used to be commonplace. Didn't used to be a standard. Games are $60. It used to vary depending on the quality and how much they actually invested making it. And games like in the 90s, when you get adjusted for inflation, fucking Donkey Kong 64, you bought it for 40, $60. Adjusted for inflation, you basically paid like $100 already.
All right. So here's where I differ. If I could return video games like any other product, I'd be okay with them raising the price like any other product. That to me, that's the big kicker. You can't just, if you start playing a video game, it sucks. You're like, I want my money back. There's a bunch of caveats that would prevent you from getting your money back. That would be to me the biggest knockback there.
That's a fair counterpoint.
Yeah. Also, I don't think you see. I think studios have made a massive mistake in the way that they've made video games lately, and they think that making them bigger, longer means better, and it's a lot of bloat. Like there's a lot of video games that I've played that have overstayed their welcome. In fact, I don't particularly love playing video games, newer video games, because, dude, it's a 100-hour commitment to a world that I don't particularly love, so I haven't really loved this game or anything. So it's why, again, microtransactions, pay to play, all that bunch of stuff. And it's like, why are you doing this? And this leads into the fall of AAA gaming, which we can talk about, the Assassin's Creed debacle and the fall of Ubisoft. But let's see, check the Mingus. Everything's expensive, and yet my check stays the same and flies quicker. It's called inflation. I remember the first PlayStation costing $200 brand new with one controller and a demo. Yeah.
Just for inflation.
Before we move on to Ubisoft, things that I don't like about the Nintendo Switch 2. I like physical copies, right? I like physical copies. I like having the cartridges. I like having all that stuff. I'm paranoid. I'm like, oh, they're gonna not allow me to play the game anymore. One day they're gonna shut down the server, stuff like that. I like having them. Also, resale value, right? You can actually resell. You can't resell a digital copy. Them charging you $10 extra for it for a physical copy is a slap on the face I understand it, but it is because you're investing in the plastic, actually manufacturing and shipping. I understand it. Okay, I can turn the other cheek after that slap. However, I looked into it, and it turns out that a lot of these games the cartridges don't even have the game inside of them. It's like a download key. So you put that in your Switch, you need to be connected to the internet, and it downloads the game. So it's like, what the fuck is even the point? And why are you charging me 10 extra bucks for a thing that doesn't even have the game in it? So to me, that's like Nintendo's just going nuts. It's insane. Like, being able to play GameCube games there, cool. Soul Calibur 2, awesome. I'm all in. But them doing that bullshit of giving you an empty cartridge with basically a download key, it's BS. It's greed on a unsustainable level. I don't understand.
So it's not just that. It's kind of confusing.
Yes, I am very confused.
Because once you have it there, is it there forever?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't download to the cartridge. It downloads to the console.
Right. So can I? But I can give that card to you if let's say I own the new fucking I own Donkey Kong Bonanza Badabadunga, whatever the name's called.
Yeah, but you can't play without the cartridge.
Okay, but so I put it in the cartridge in.
Yeah.
And now that downloads the game onto my console.
Mm-hmm.
But I can still take that cartridge and lend it to you.
That's the part I don't know. I don't know if it's just one download or not.
I think that was part of the little video, right? This is the problem with that feature. This is very confusing. They did not make that very clear.
And to me, it's annoying because imagine what's the best part about the Nintendo Switch?
Portability, and at this point I would just say the sheer amount of games that there are. Right?
Okay, portability. So you have your Nintendo Switch. You go to the store. You buy your game. You put it into the Nintendo Switch. And then you can't fucking play it because it has to download.
That's the part I'm confused about.
It makes no fucking sense. It's just stupid and annoying.
Actually, I do understand it because technically the games would have to be way more expensive. For example, Elden Ring would not fit on a normal cartridge.
Okay.
On a normal Switch cartridge. So what they have to do is they have to download a portion of that game.
That I understand. But
so that you can actually run it well on your
But the majority of the game is in the cartridge, so you're not taking up all the memory on the Switch.
Yeah, it's basically like a half and half. Like it's
I don't know.
Like when you use your phone data to sort of supplement your Wi-Fi when you have like shitty Wi-Fi, right?
Kind of, yeah. But let's see. Chuck Dominguez hates.
He
hates DLCs. He can't. I saw an article that in California, $100,000 income is now lower class. I don't think so, but sure, why not? Nothing surprises me in California anymore. About DLCs, also, it depends on the DLC. Like, if you're using a DLC to finish the game, then fuck you, because you're trying to charge me money to see the ending of the game. Fuck you. However, if it's like an extra adventure, for example, Blood and Wine from The Witcher 3, which is a phenomenal extra adventure, okay, I'm okay with it. I can understand it. But if it's like, I don't know, Borderlands, where it's the real ending for the game because the game ending sucked, let's just say it's different. It lands different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and also, I mean, the reason DLC even became a thing was because they were trying to supplement the fact that games weren't making really a lot of profit for them.
Also, I mean, it's kind of like you're taking a risk on a game, right? You're a developer. You're taking a risk on a game. Do you wanna let's just say bringing out the game at its entirety is going to cost you $100 million, just to give it a number. But you can make it for $70 million, and if you want to add that extra chunk for another 30, you're like, okay, I can do it that way because I can gauge the interest in this game. So I'm not investing the full 100 million. I'm investing 70. And if there's enough interest, okay, then we can go all the way, blah, blah, blah. And in those cases, those games do end up what, like if you want to have Elden Ring, the full game, it's going to cost you like what, $90?
If you count the full game as being with the DLC, then around $100, yeah.
Okay. See, but what's the difference? You know you love the game.
Yeah, and not just that, it's completely unnecessary in terms of having a full game. I played all of Elden Ring, and I didn't feel like I needed anything else, really.
Sure.
It felt like I got a complete full experience. Honestly, I felt like I ripped them off.
Kind of, yeah, because you got way more hours out of it.
And again, this is sort of the argument about how gaming is super fucking cheap as a hobby. If you want to go to the movies, how much does it cost you?
Okay, I've made this argument before, and it's
15 bucks. 15 bucks.
Let's
maybe for a ticket.
Sure, let's say $15.
Okay, two people. You're gonna go alone?
No, because only psychopaths do that.
Exactly. Okay, so $30. So you get to see 2 movies for the price of a video game.
Let's say minimum wage is $15. That means it costs you 2 hours of your life, 2 hours of work.
Sure.
And you only get, well, you get 2 hours of entertainment, maybe, if the movie's good, I guess.
If it's good. You know?
Yeah, I know. It's a risk.
That's a big if, and that's a lot of money that you're risking.
Listen, and I agree. Like for example, the Game Pass, super cheap, but unfortunately, the Game Pass has kind of ruined gaming too, because it's made developers lazy. The same thing happened on Netflix. Basically, they just want to keep you sitting there. But let's move on to the other state of gaming. The biggest news, the most important news. What?
I would just like to add, because I did look it up. The Sony PlayStation 1 was $300 at its release. And for 2025, that you would be paying $647 for a brand new PS1.
Interesting. Interesting.
So it feels like gaming has gotten more expensive.
Maybe life in general has gotten more expensive.
It has not.
Right.
I can tell you that.
Fair enough. Speaking of stuff that's going to be expensive, Grand Theft Auto 6 has officially given a release date. It will be, let me just double check here so that people don't rip my head off, May 26, 2026. So every single video, so it got delayed about a year. So every single game developer is like, yes. Single person who was going to release the game this year was like, fuck, we're going to have to compete with Grand Theft Auto 6. No, they're free. They can release their games. They're cool, at least for another year. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy this game, to be honest. Because again,
I'm not very interested in it.
Honestly, I'd be more interested in another Red Dead, but we'll see. It's another one of those games like this is just too much. It's too much commitment, too much time. I honestly miss shorter games, but
to me, it's also.
I'll wait for a price drop.
Also, I would actually rather have a new Bully game.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know, but I'm gonna wait for the price drop probably. Also, this dude looks like a Latino Eminem, and that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't have any faith that they're gonna make a better game than GTA 5.
We'll see. We'll see. Definitely, the characters don't seem as colorful. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, ironically, they're way more colorful.
Funny. All right. So, let's talk about the fall of Ubisoft. So, for those of you who don't know, Ubisoft is a video game studio that created the Assassin's Creed franchise, amongst other stuff. Now, the latest release, Assassin's Creed Shadows, has been controversial to say the least. And let's just say, sales have not been great, to the point where the value of the company has gone down like 90%. And they actually were assisted by the Chinese video game giant Tencent to basically stay alive. So Tencent gave them like $1 billion. So the value of Ubisoft right now is like $1 billion, which is a lot. But again, it's dropped like 90%. And Tencent gave them $1 billion to stay afloat. So the value of the company, they just gave it to them. And they created this new kind of association where they're going to collaborate in creating the next titles for particular franchises, the most lucrative ones. So it's one of those things. It feels kind of like it's gonna end up like in the Dark Knight Rises, the Bane scene, like, do you feel in control? And
Ubisoft will be sold within the next 3 years. Mark my words.
I don't know. I think Tencent will keep it afloat, but it'll be Ubisoft.
It'll be bought by Tencent.
It'll be Ubisoft. Like, the name will probably stay, but it's one of those things like, how could you fuck this up so badly? You had a franchise that people would just buy automatically. You have a bunch of franchises people just buy automatically, and you found a way to piss everybody off in so many ways. And it all started with one of your stupid what do you call them? One of your white collar employees saying gamers should get used to the idea of not owning their own games. Which from that point on, it's all been downhill to Ubisoft massively. And so, was it the cat again?
Oh no, it's just my wife is up.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, woke her up. Sorry.
No, it's all good. She can take care of the cat now.
Oh, brilliant. So yeah, it's I've been trying to trace it, and it all that's like the inciting incident. One idiot saying players need to get used to the idea of not owning their own games. And so I've been thinking, it's like, again, Nintendo is selling you cartridges without games in them. They want you to subscribe to their services instead of actually owning the games. And it's one of those things like, these fuckers think they deserve our money. They just can put out slop, bad slop. They can insult us, and they're like, yeah, but your money's ours. Give it to us, because you are basically just money machines to us. And it's led to that type of thinking. The money people thinking has led to, let's just say, disconnect with what players want. Because I don't know if you know this, another video game came out recently. It's called Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It sold over 2 million copies, and it was created by ex-Ubisoft employees, and it was like made by 90 people. So it's like 90, like it actually might have been less. So like a small group of former Ubisoft developers created probably what's going to be the game of the, or what could be the game of the year, with a budget that's basically peanuts. And Ubisoft could not make Assassin's Creed Shadows without thousands and thousands of people. Supposedly the credits of this game is like 2 hours long. I might be exaggerating. I don't know. I didn't play the game, but and they gave a slop.
And he damn well didn't finish it.
Oh, hells no. Dude, I've seen videos of the gameplay where basically just if you crouch on the grass, nothing happens. Like they can't touch you or something. It's stupid. Beyond stupid. But let's see.
So first off, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. God damn, that's a horrible title for a game.
Yes, agreed. But they're French.
Yeah, but
Clair Obscur.
It does look like an interesting game though.
It's supposedly a turn-based RPG. So.
Well, I like those.
But you can parry.
Oh, so like Paper Mario.
Kind of, yeah. So I've heard the thing that I've heard the most is that the soundtrack is phenomenal. So if you're interested, but yeah, it's one of those things like a small group of talented people who actually care about the product is way better than thousands of morons who are just there basically trying to think they're owed your money. You're standing on the shoulders of giants and you're basically just taking a dump on it. You don't know how to use it. You didn't create it. You didn't understand it. You think you were just owed it. And now you're at the point where basically Tencent's got you by the cojones. And that's happened a lot. So like there's been a bunch of failures that shouldn't have been lately. Well, one that should have been a failure was Concord. I don't know if you know about Concord, but it was like,
I love Concord.
Dude,
it's the best game.
Dude, this game lasted a week. And then Sony was like, no, we'll just...
lasted a day. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. I thought okay, so they had to refund everything. They refunded everybody so that Sony could actually put it as a tax write-off. And here's the thing, and this is why I remembered Concord, honestly. I recently saw...
You're trying to look for Overwatch on Temu?
No. Have you ever heard of Secret Level? Secret Level is an
I've heard of solo leveling.
no, Secret Level is an Amazon. Solo leveling is phenomenal, but I read the entire manga. But anyway,
Secret Level is the one with that every episode's like a game, right?
yes. So it's the Amazon show where they make short films of a bunch of different video games, right? And it's a different studio and all that stuff. There's an
They made
episode
one for Concord.
There's an episode for Concord, and dude, I'll just tell you this, like to me that this just encapsulates Concord to what it was, and it's in the very beginning of the video. One of the characters there, it's a black girl, and she's kind of tied up or something. She's like this, and you can see hair on her armpits, and you're just like, ah. Why? It's like, so this is when the game, like, you were just trying to be gross on purpose. Why would
I mean, just look at these characters. Obviously they were.
It's like, why would you do this? Like, why? And so it's, to me, it was like, all right, now listen, I didn't play the game, but I know exactly where the game failed, man. there's zero doubts on my mind why that game failed. But anyway,
Can you believe it was like how many $200 million or something to make?
hundreds of millions. Again,
You would think at least the $100 million mark, you'd be like, wait, but for real, these are our characters though?
you'd think they'd have a little bit of oversight.
When are we gonna remove the beta designs? Like we need the real ones finalized, bro.
Yeah, listen, stupid is as stupid does, man. That's all I can tell you. And finally, the final failure, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. This
That was
one,
impressive dyslexia.
I mean, thank you. This one, holy shit. This is a beloved franchise. This one should have been a slam dunk. And holy fuck, did they manage to destroy a beloved IP. I have, honestly, it takes a special level of skill to be this fucking stupid. And again, it's one of those things that, like, you can tell that it was made by somebody who did not give a fuck about the franchise. They just wanted to do their own thing. That's that. Because it begins, I don't know if you played the Inquisition.
Probably a little.
Okay. Basically, in Inquisition, they leave the story kind of like you are basically after Solus. You remember Solus? So they set things up that he's going to be the next villain. And basically, in the prologue of Dragon Age: The Veilguard, they kind of nix all that storyline. And you're like, what the? So every player that was waiting for years to continue the Solus storyline is now like, what the fuck? What? And
Well, I don't know if you know, but literally all of the talented writers in BioWare have been leaving like crazy the last few years.
I wonder why. So that's the thing that I'm really nervous about, the next Mass Effect. Like,
Don't even.
I'm not gonna give him money. I'm not gonna
the next Mass Effect.
I'm not gonna give him money. No, I'm gonna wait. There's very few studios who are gonna get my money like blind. And right now, I think it's maybe From Software, and that's it.
From Software and Nintendo, I think, for the most part.
I don't know. I don't even know about Nintendo. Like Pokemon, no, not anymore.
That's not Nintendo. That's Game Freak.
Well, Fire Emblem, after Engage, not happy with you guys. But Three Houses was cool. That was great. Anyway, let me see.
That's still not Nintendo.
Let's see. Chuck the Finger says, yes, Bully and Red Dead Redemption 3. I was done with Assassin's Creed after the character Desmond died. What made Assassin's Creed games was that they used conspiracy theories. Yes. We can get into a whole thing of why Assassin's Creed Shadows was a bad idea. Chuck the Mingus, what the fuck does that mean? I don't know. What the fuck does what mean? I should tell the game creators to take me to dinner because I like being fine and dine after I get fucked in the ass. Okay.
Where are you reading this? Is this a special website?
No, it's the comments.
I don't see that.
It's on YouTube. It's like so you like to be wined and dined after you get fucked, not before? I mean, I guess it makes sense.
I mean, yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Like, sure.
Well, you get tired after, and you get hungry, and you want to get something to eat.
You know what? Fair enough. They ruined the franchise.
I think that's the better order of things.
You know, Chuck, you're a genius. They ruin the franchise, then they cry when the game fails. Yes, exactly. Because it's the most annoying thing in the world. Somebody creates something, people love that thing, then somebody else comes in, makes something that's different, but uses the skin of the other thing, and they get upset when people are like, this is not the same thing. This is not the thing that I wanted. This is not what I expected.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You cut out for a second and I couldn't hear. Are we talking about Rings of Power?
We were talking about Rings of Power. We're talking about Halo. We're talking about Star Trek. We're talking about Star Wars. We're talking about a whole slew of franchises that I've complained for a very long time that were just used to skin suits by a bunch of idiots who are like, yeah, I just want to do a different thing. You know, I just want to, I want to. This is actually interesting. It reminds me of, if you remember when the Joker movie came out, the director said like, yeah, well, I didn't want to make like a superhero movie, but I sold it that way so studios would give me money so I could make it. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of those things that's, if you saw Joker 2, you're like, yeah, that guy definitely did not want to make a superhero movie. That guy was just, he wanted to make a musical, and he used the superhero the names as an excuse. So he used the skin suit, and so that's what's kind of happening. For some reason, studios think that they need to attach a franchise to something instead of, or maybe they know that something's going to fail unless you attach a franchise's name to it. Maybe they're like, this idea is not going to work, so but we want to push it anyway. I don't know. It feels weird. It feels forced. I don't understand. Honestly, I do not understand this lack of responsibility towards your investors' money. Like, somebody had to make the decision to spend money on certain things, and they've just blown it. Like, for example, Star Wars. They ruined the IP. It costs you a pretty penny. You made some money, but overall the IP is basically the lowest point it's ever been. Like, Andor's out right now. I haven't seen Andor season 2 yet, and I liked Andor season 1, but the reason why I haven't watched it is because I didn't even know. Why didn't I know that season 2 came out? Like, I found out like 2 days ago because I heard it on the Tom Grossi podcast, and he just mentioned it. Like, oh, and you want to know why I didn't know? Because I don't care. I don't care about Star Wars stuff anymore. I don't care about Star Wars news anymore, and that's the worst thing that could happen to you, apathy. And so
we are officially in the apathy stage, and so I remember that back in the day, like say in the 80s, when you mentioned something like, do studios feel like they need to attach themselves to a franchise or something? Yes, that is basically the era that we're in, because we don't have movie stars anymore. Back in the day, if there was a weird project, you know, something a little bit out there, studios would be like, all right, let's attach Stallone to this. You know, he'll draw butts to the seats. So, you know, we'll try out this weird freaking, I don't know, the Running Man. Was he the Running Man? Which is the one where he fights Wesley Snipes in the future?
A Demolition Man.
Demolition Man, that's the one. You know, it's kind of an out there concept, but they're like, you know what, Sly's a star, so let's just put him there and he'll get the butts in the seats and it'll be a proof of concept. So nowadays, since we don't really have people who put butts in seats other than Tom Cruise, who's, you know, not going to be there forever, we only got him for like 50 more years.
You know, this might be a chicken or the egg type of deal. Because maybe the reason why we don't have movie stars anymore is because there aren't really particularly good movies coming out.
I think it's because social media killed the movie star.
Well, I think the movie star kind of killed themselves. Because we now...
Social media was the gun.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, I kind of know too much about you now. Mm-hmm. There's no... Like, one of the beauties about Tom Cruise is that you don't see him a lot. And so when he acts, you're like, well, also he acts kind of like Tom Cruise a lot. But it's like, I can actually believe that you're the character. But for a bunch of other actors that you see a lot and all other things, like, I don't believe you. Also, again, terrible. We are in the worst generation of writers ever. And terrible directors, too.
You know why? It's because we're in the generation of professional writers. These are people who went to school to be Hollywood writers. These are not people who lived normal lives and, decided to take their life experience and turn them into screenplays. And, they're like, I want to tell this story because, I have a personal connection. It's like, no, you just grew up watching Hollywood movies. You grew up, wanting to become a Hollywood writer. And you're sort of just redigesting all of Hollywood. And that's why everything feels so goddamn generic. Because there's nothing interesting about you as a writer, as a person. You don't have anything interesting to say. You just want to put out more Hollywood slop.
No. I think you got it wrong. Because I'll never forget, like, Quentin Tarantino said he didn't go to film school. He went to film. So the way that he learned to make films was actually watching films. You can actually learn a lot from watching films. I think it's a combination of lazy writers, and we're in a very lazy generation because they don't research stuff. Like, they don't research that you can't set a fire in space. Like, basic stuff, like little things. And that's an acolyte thing where, a thing was on fire out in space. Yeah. So they don't do basic research. Like, I remember I was pulling my hair out watching, it's a Mexican TV show. I was working on the subtitles for it. It's, I'll remember the name later, but it's at night. It's supposed to be kind of like the early 1900s, and they're camping out, and it's night, and an Indian companion's like, I'm gonna go get us dinner, and she goes and she hunts a deer at night. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Hunting a deer in the middle of the day is hard enough. And at night,
to be fair, maybe they could do it if they just weren't under the freaking fist of the patriarchy.
Maybe. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if you would have done 5 minutes of research, you could have found that that's a stupid idea, but whatever. It's more of how the industry works. And you know what the problem is that for a very long time, the industry has not rewarded talent, it's rewarded connections. So you got a bunch of Saturday Night Live writers writing for WWE and not knowing who Bobby Lashley is,
Yes.
So it's like, oh, it's a connection. I know.
Wait, was the fucking WWE champion at the time?
I know. It's like, well, no wonder you got fired, you idiot. So it's one of those things, again, lazy, couldn't do 5 minutes of research. So it's a bunch of people who are professional writers who don't have talent, but get hired because they know people. And it's like a vicious vomit circle where they keep feeding each other. It's like, well, I know I'm not great, but I know this person who's not great, so I'm going to hire this person instead of the talented person who would actually take over my job and stuff like that because they're actually talented people. And so it's this weird vomit circle where everything just keeps going down the drain, and it's not their money, so they don't give a fuck. They still keep getting paid tons and tons of dollars. And so it's just, we're at the point where now us, the fans, the consumers are like, you know what? Fuck you guys. You don't deserve my money. And so we are at the implosion point. And reviewers,
it's like yeah, go ahead.
And so again, vicious circle. So you got a bad writer who writes a bad show or a bad movie or something, and you have a reviewer who's also a writer, but his friends, because they were writers together in college or whatever, or contacts, and so they give you a good review for their movie or whatever their show is because they're like, well, he's my homie, he's my friend, or I know what they were trying to say, blah, blah, blah. And it's, so now I can't trust this creator, I can't trust that studio, I can't trust this reviewer, I can't trust anybody. And so I'm at the point of apathy because I'd rather not get anything because I can't trust anybody because everybody's just making shit. They're taking a piss, they're pissing on me and telling me it's raining. And I'm supposed to just accept it You know, it's like, why aren't you okay with this? It's the thing that's annoying. I've always complained for a very long time, and it goes back to, let's say, Game of Thrones. When we're complaining about it's not good, it's bad, and they're like, why are you complaining so much? What's the big deal? Just enjoy it. It's like, no, because it's not good. They have something that was good, and they're just ruining it because they're a bunch of dumbasses. But anyway.
So especially with Game of Thrones, is a good example of people gave it a lot of leeway when the quality started going down. I would say probably around season 5, right?
No, season 3.
Let's be real. It was still a fantastic show up until around season 5.
You said when the quality started going down.
I would say, but to the point where you would actually say, like,
no,
okay, this show is...
So something was great. It went down to good. It went down to okay. It went down to bad. So the moment that it went down from great was season 3. I'd argue season 2.
You mean before the Red Wedding?
Yes.
I would say they made some changes for the better. But anyways, regardless, when a show starts dipping a little bit in quality, you sort of give them the benefit of the doubt at first because you're like, well, I mean, this is still a fantastic show overall, right? But it becomes one of those things that's like, all right, you just cut me one time, but you know, you're still treating me all good for the rest of the thing, so I can take a little cut. But then the next season, you cut me like 3 times, and it's like, I don't know, this is starting to bug me, but it's still a great show. And then you get to like season 6, and it's like, all right, motherfucker, I can see it. This is a downward trend now that we're noticing. And the problem with a lot of these studios, and this goes, honestly, I see it as the same thing with Hollywood and the gaming industry. They're just losing all the good faith that they've been building for decades at this point. Like, Ubisoft used to be fairly respected.
Yeah.
A fairly respected name.
A fairly respected franchise. Like, I think the highest selling Assassin's Creed was Odyssey, which was what, 2 gens before? So not that long ago?
1 gen ago.
No. I meant like the 2 titles before. So it was Odyssey, Valhalla, Shadows.
Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, Shadows. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So let me see.
You spent freaking decades building all this goodwill, building these fan bases. Why did they?
Because they didn't build it
all down the drain.
They didn't build it.
But even if you don't give a shit about games,
they were just entitled.
Even if you don't give a shit about any games, you think games are stupid, you think that they cater to misogynist young teenage boys or whatever, I don't give a fuck. You want their fucking money, don't you? At the end of the day, don't you want their fucking money?
Yeah, but they're stupid. These are stupid people. These are not competent people. That's the problem. If they were competent, they would be able to sell it. But they don't. But they're not competent. They're just morons. They're entitled. They think that they deserve it. And speaking,
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there with the. I think a lot of these people they really do think that as long as you have the right messaging, then you're good. It doesn't matter if you have the right quality, because quality is subjective, but the message is not.
Let me see. Sorry, Cartman, South Park. I feel what's going to save the game companies are remakes. A lot of people are willing to pay for a remake. I got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake, and they keep it truth. Yep, there are some upgrades, but they try to keep it as original as it can be. Demolition Man, I like the guy who created the Boondock Saints. It's like the guy who created Gears of War coming to PS5. Listen, remakes are good. Like, for example, if Nintendo said that the Switch 2 is having a remaster of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, I'd be like, all right, fine, I have to get it. I have to freaking get it now. But it's not what's gonna save it.
That's not gonna save it.
It's gonna have to be indies. And the remake thing is a very interesting point, because right now we can play a lot of the older games, and this has been my point for a very long time. We don't need new games. We don't need them at all whatsoever. We have again, if I checked right now my Steam account, I have probably like 20 games I haven't played. Like we can just go back and play those. I can.
Just 20? Those are rookie numbers.
I can just keep playing Warhammer Total War and finish out the campaign for every single race and all that stuff. And it would take me probably the rest of the year. So we don't need them. But in their arrogance and in their entitlement, they think that they own us. And speaking about arrogant, entitled assholes, we're going to talk about The Last of Us and Neil fucking Druckmann. And one of the most satisfying things I have enjoyed in recent memory. So for those of you who don't know, The Last of Us is a video game that was created by Sony and by Naughty Dog about, 20 years ago?
2013, I believe, was the first game.
Beloved, a masterpiece. Brilliant. Then the sequel came out roughly 2-3 years ago, and it's one of the worst things I've ever played in my life. It destroyed a franchise. It destroyed my trust in a studio. It definitely rose a deep, seething hatred to the creator and writer of said video game. Then that video game got turned into a TV show for HBO called The Last of Us, and season 1 was from what I've heard, because I didn't see it, liked by fans.
I saw like 4 episodes. It was basically just the game, but just what was the point?
Worse. So I saw the pilot.
Yeah, like they did not have better acting than the game. No.
I saw the pilot. I hated it because Joel was nowhere near as big as a brutal, cold-hearted asshole as he was in the video game. And 2, it wasn't gory. So what's the point of watching a video game that's not gory? Like, I'm sorry, of a zombie show that's not gory? Stupid. So, and I already knew where the story was going, which I was going to hate. And so I was like, why would I waste my time?
In their defense, I don't know why I would, but in their defense, Joel is a more consistent character in the show because it's way easier to believe that
Moron.
that guy,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, would fall for the stupid thing he does in the second part of the show.
Fair enough. So season 2's come out, and
the problem with the sequel was the fact that they killed Joel's character in order to be able to do what they did.
True. And so season 2, again, I said this at the time. A lot of people were telling me, you gotta watch the show, whatever. It's like, I'm not gonna watch this show. I know it's gonna suck. I know what's coming. It's gonna suck, but you do you. I don't recommend you watching it, but whatever. Let me know when you get there. And you will know when you get there.
Don't you love that it's the one time that they've adapted something completely fucking faithfully?
Oh, that's my favorite part. Because this
fucking time.
This fucker, Neil fucking Druckmann, had years of feedback of people telling him this was stupid. You fucked up your franchise. It's the dumbest writing idea you could have ever had. You should remake. You should cancel this game, re-release it, change the story, all this stuff. Fans were screaming it from the rooftops. Everybody was telling him. But this fucker, in his arrogance, was like, no, my writing was brilliant, and I'm going to show everybody. And so they did not change the story for the TV show, and lo and behold, the ratings after that particular incident have gone down the fucking toilet. And I can't tell you how happy I am. By the way, message me at DarioSDW and Super Dario World. How many messages I've gotten people telling me like, dude, you were fucking right. Like, why didn't I fucking listen? Like, oh my fucking God, why would they do that? And then the follow-ups, kind of like what Gus Becerra just said right now, I'm gonna be a dad, was beyond cringe. Stuff like, so it just keeps getting worse. That's actually worse than the video game. So, listen.
They didn't have the bigot sandwich line.
By the way, you kind of look like Pedro Pascal right now that I think about it.
Do I look like a bitch?
It's the beard, yeah. It's the cats.
Damn it.
It's the cats. They do make you look like a bitch.
Wait, let me see if I can do like...
Not bad. Guzman said they should re-release remastered games that shows getting put out recently. Fallout and Twisted Metal, for example. Guzman said he also cranked up the whole woke though, adding 20 rainbows to the city and Dina. Dina was in the video game. So my point is, you had a franchise. You had a very valuable franchise, and now you know how many times they've re-released Last of Us Part 2? Like 5 times in 5 years, because it still has not reached the numbers they were expecting to justify its existence. That's why there's no Last of Us Part 3. And now HBO's got to be like, dude, we signed up for 3 seasons of this and the audience is already gone. Like everybody's already signed out, and you had a hit. You had a hit in your hands. All you had to do was listen to the fucking audience. Get your head out of your own fucking ass. Get your giant head out of your giant ass. And in his arrogance, he couldn't do it. He couldn't fucking do it. And it makes me so happy because now this is what he could be like, oh yeah, gamers are bigots or whatever. Now, with the bunch of the rest of the normie audience that watches TV shows, what's your excuse now? So everybody's wrong except you? Nobody understands your genius, or maybe your story just fucking sucks, and maybe it always fucking sucked, and maybe it was a very stupid idea to do what you did in part 2. Like maybe it's you.
But Dario, it won Game of the Year. It won like 1 trillion awards.
Which
it sold millions of copies.
Which,
you know,
again, it shows you like, well, I can't trust these reviewers anymore. I can't trust the people who give these people awards anymore because you're awarding shit. You're awarding like it's the only video game I've ever wanted to return in my life. I've played terrible games, but it's the only one I've actually wanted my money back because I was like, this fucker does not deserve a penny from me anymore. And that's how I found out that you can't really return video games. That's because it's the first time I tried it. So it's one of those things that you're like, somebody get him a mirror. Somebody. Just so he can look at himself and can see how.
You can't give him a mirror because vampires don't see their own reflection.
Yeah, true enough. But it's been satisfying. I gotta tell you, I've enjoyed it.
Is that where that metaphor comes from?
I don't know, maybe.
Where it's like they're so evil they're incapable of self-reflection.
Oh, maybe it is. All right, before we
I'm gonna go write an essay with ChatGPT.
Yeah, before we talk about a little bit about anime, because it is Otaku Tuesday, we're gonna move on to a little NFL talk, right? Because that's why everybody's here. Everybody's here for our NFL takes because we're just that good, and we are that informative, and people can still trust us to be idiots, and we do not know shit about fuck. I
predicted the Super Bowl, so screw y'all.
Hey, go fuck yourself. How about you go fuck yourself, huh? How about that? Anyway, let's see. Do you think they can save The Last of Us on a new season? Let me see. Okay, we're gonna go into spoiler arena. Okay, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! They cannot save The Last of Us season 3 because A, you killed off your star, right? The likable character, the character everybody likes, the actor with the charisma, the movie star, the draw, Pedro Pascal. You killed him off. You killed him off in a horrible way. So your next lead.
This was not a Ned Stark moment.
No, Bella Ramsey. You do not have like an ensemble cast that can take over. Bella Ramsey has the charisma of a knee. She's not particularly attractive. She's not particularly likable. And I hated her in Game of Thrones. I hated the casting for The Last of Us. And so if it were 2 cute lesbians, I might stick around for out of curiosity. That's why I watched Cena Warrior Princess. But it's really, what's the point here? Why am I sticking around? Again, it's not gory. Chicks ain't cute. Characters ain't likable. The story's beyond fucking stupid. And so I don't see them a way they could save it. Even if they try to do a total 180 and just completely change the story from the video game, stuff like that, they already lost the audience. People rarely come back to stuff. Rarely. Because there's too much.
It's because nowadays we have too much stuff to watch. So why should we put up with fucking bullshit? At the very least, I'm just like, all right, fuck it. I'm just gonna go back and watch something old on a streaming service that I know is gonna be good. I started watching the X Files. That shit's good.
Yeah. Again, we can. So I told you this on the last freaking podcast, on the last episode. I was like, because I was worried that I'm the problem, that I'm depressed, I'm apathetic, because I'm not enjoying a bunch of stuff that I'm
That's all
watching
true.
now. And then I watched The Sopranos, and I'm like, I'm not the problem. Like this is actually a great show, and I'm actually enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to it. And like Secret
phenomenal
Levels,
show.
I enjoyed Secret Levels. I enjoyed a bunch of anime. I enjoyed Jack Reacher. So it's like, nah, it's not me. It's that they're giving us shit. So why? There's so much stuff to do, to watch, to everything. It's like, why would I waste my time with that? So I don't think people are coming back. Also, as you said, cringe as fuck, right? People don't come back to cringe, in my humble opinion. Like, or the majority. Like, if you leave something because it was cringe, it's very rare that you return.
Did you see Bella Ramsey try to do MMA at the beginning of the season?
What? No.
Yeah,
Dude, I don't watch the show. I
I
only
didn't, me neither. I just watched the clips.
I watch the memes sometimes, and I'm like, oh, that can't be it. Like, oh, it turns out that they put the scene there and whatever. Let me see. Refresh my memory. Did Ellie blatantly finger blast Dina literally 2 seconds after disclosing her pregnancy in the game?
I hate that sentence considering our sister.
Yeah, Gus, Ellie has that magic finger. Ha ha ha. Listen, I don't think so. I think the only time they hook up is when they were getting high.
Yes.
I don't recall them.
Was that like right before the freaking the flashback with the rocket?
I think so. I don't care. I played the game once.
So, if I'm gonna talk like actual writing, fundamentally, why I don't think the dynamics between Ellie and Dina work in part 2 compared to Ellie and Joel in part 1 is that Ellie and Joel were completely different characters, completely different people. They had contrasting views. One was a veteran dude who was jaded and he comes from the old world, and he's kind of a badass, but he's also kind of a piece of shit because he had to become that in order to survive. So he's seen the world fall apart. And one of them is a little girl who grew up in that world. That's all she knows. And obviously she's curious about the real world and she wants to be out there, and she thinks she's hot shit. But all throughout the game she learns that, okay, maybe I'm in too deep, maybe I need Joel's help for this. And she starts learning how to survive, thanks to Joel. There's a progression there, and there's a back and forth because she also helps Joel get back his humanity. So there's a contrast. There's a yin and a yang there. With Ellie and Dina, it's just two chicks that want to finger bang each other.
Yeah, it is weird.
They're the same character. They're not. There's no opposing ideologies here except for Dina just telling him like, yeah, maybe you should like reconsider this whole revenge thing. But then she's also going along with it. So what's the message there? I don't know.
Also, and you missed one of the favorite parts. It's for me, for Joel. Joel is the guy who's always just a bit too late. So he was a bit too late to save his daughter. He was a bit too late to realize that the zombie thing was going to start. He was a bit too late to realize that the soldier was going to shoot him. He was a bit too late to save Tess. I believe that's her name. He was a bit too late to realize that there was a trap going on. There was a bit too late until at the very end, he's like, no, I'm not going to be too late for this one. And he becomes like this just savage monster, right? And so he finally makes a choice. And then for some reason in part 2, he was a bit too late to realize that he was in a trap, right?
Also, a choice that he makes that, everybody 100% agrees with.
Yes, because you're the player.
No, and not just that. It's you're a fucking human being.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, you did it and you would have done it anyways. That's one of the things, like, that's the thing.
If the game gave us a choice, I would guarantee you that 90% of the players kill that fucking doctor every fucking time.
That's one of the things that I find hysterical about the arrogance of part 2. Because they're like, no, I mean, we're gonna show you that there's two sides to every story, and Joel was the bad guy. It's like, hey, yo, idiot, I was Joel. It was me. Yeah. I did it. I was controlling him. So what are you trying to do here?
Also, you want to know something? If you try to shoot that doctor in the knee, it still kills him.
Yeah.
So even if you try to incapacitate him, you have to kill him. So fuck you. No, there's no moral lesson here. You're just a prick, Neil Cuckman.
Yeah. Anyway,
also, you have a weird fetish with buff ladies.
Yeah, that was very weird. Let me see. Movie studios should hire a superfan to write movies. That could also be a mistake, but you know, because they might.
You don't need to get a superfan. Just get somebody who respects the source material enough. Like, okay. You know why Daredevil was so good?
The Netflix show. Why?
Yeah, original.
Hmm?
The creators, the writers, they like Daredevil comics.
No fucking way.
And you know what? They weren't like diehard fans. It's not like he was his favorite fucking superhero all time. But they grew up and they read some Daredevil stories and they liked them.
Wait, what? They read the comics? That's cheating. You can't do that.
It's crazy.
You can't do that.
It's crazy.
You can't read stuff.
And so
you can't read the source material.
They had an intuitive understanding of what made the character so appealing. And guess what? Netflix season 1 to season 2 was phenomenal. Season 3 was pretty good, but it was clearly a decline in quality. And we don't talk about what comes afterwards.
I haven't finished Born Again. But anyway, let's see.
It's called Bored Again.
Listen. There's also an issue with superfans doing all that stuff. You just need to get talented people in there who do their research. That's pretty much it.
The right balance. You know who's a perfect person to as an example? Fucking Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson, big fan of the Lord of the Rings, but he's not like a freaking Tolkien historian, who knows all of the freaking Silmarillion back and front, But he liked the Lord of the Rings story and he wanted to tell it. So he took his time to actually try to understand the vision of the author. He even got Christopher Lee to actually help him out because he knew Tolkien.
Well, I think that's why it was... Listen, when you have Saruman behind you being like, I've killed people. I'm a super fan.
I've killed people.
Are you going to listen to my requests? To my suggestions?
Listen, I might be Saruman the evil, but I'm still the wise.
Wait a minute. Yes. Si quiero tacos. Let me double check. I gotta make sure that they caught that one. Yeah.
Hey, I want some too.
Screw you.
I'll send you the address. I'll pay the DoorDash fee.
All right, so let's continue. My point is, yes, game 2 sucked, but the show still figured out how to crank the cringe up to 12. The Penguin, it was really good show. The Penguin.
I've heard the Penguin is really good, actually.
Mm-hmm. I've heard good stuff, but again, I was like, I don't care. I didn't watch the show because I knew it was gonna suck. So I believe you. I mean, I heard about the gay episode, and I've heard about the I'm gonna be a dad, and again the finger blasting with the dirty hands and stuff. So it's. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? Let's move on to the NFL.
They want you to watch the show so you can review it and be pissed.
Fair enough.
Same way that I told you that you should have played the second game on a live stream.
Oh, but you got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy my full reaction.
That was my personal. That was a personal enjoyment for me. Yes.
Yeah. So you know what? It's funny. I hate dying in video games. Loathe it entirely. Feel like a fucking loser. I hate having that on my record. Sometimes I stop the game and restart it just so that it's not on my record that I lost. I hate it that much.
What about Prince of Persia?
Hate it. Hate dying.
Well, you can bring it back.
Oh, well, that's cool. But yeah, in any video game, I hate it. I hate it. I can't tell you how many fucking times I threw Abby off a building in The Last of Us Part 2. because she was afraid of heights. So I was like, and I'm on the top of the roof. Boop, jump. Boop, jump. So because I enjoyed hearing her screams, like, like, because it's the worst, most horrible death. I just kept doing it over and over. So it
took him a really long time to finish the game.
yes, because it's the same fucking thing over and over. It's very annoying. But anyway, let's continue. We're moving on to the NFL. But before we move on to the NFL, let me just give you a quick reminder. Do not buy the Toyota BC4X. I've almost forgotten that I would say this. And do not go to Masi Toyota of El Cajon. They're gonna screw you over. I remembered this because I actually checked the numbers for the video. It's actually doing pretty well. It was like 60. It's quite impressive. It's like 60,000 views. So it's like, you know what?
I've actually shown it to people.
Dude, people thank me. They're like, I appreciate you.
I had a coworker.
Huh?
Yeah, I had a coworker who was thinking about getting like the Toyota EV, and I'm like, maybe watch this video first though.
What do you say? Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You're welcome. I saved the guy. I'm a hero. Anyway, let's move on to the NFL. It feels so good. It feels so good. Like, I check the comments every once in a while. It's like the only thing I check the comments for, and people call me an idiot. But every once, like every 10 people calling me an idiot because they don't actually watch. They don't watch my point. They watch like the first 30 seconds and like, oh, this guy is an idiot. But whatever. Every 10 or 20, there's some person being like, dude, I should have seen this video first. Or like, thank you for this. And I'm like, you know what? You're welcome. So
you're a man of the people.
If it's 60,000 people and it's 1 out of 20, huh? That's like 3,000 people I saved.
You did it for them, the people.
No, I did it out of pure fucking hatred. But I'm glad it's helping people. Anyway,
yeah.
Moving on to the NFL. All right, so big news out of the NFL that's not draft related, right? One Mr. Derek Carr has officially announced that he will be retiring. For those of you who don't know, Derek Carr was the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. He's officially retired, meaning that the New Orleans Saints only have Spencer Rattler and the kid that they drafted this draft. So what the hell's gonna? And they're not in cap hell anymore, so good for them, I guess. So this means,
first off, as you know, Derek Carr used to be with the Chargers, not with the Chargers, with the Raiders. So we went against him for a long time. But now that he's retired,
no, I will forever hate him.
You made some great albums in the '90s with Green Day. I respect the hell out of you.
No, he's a Raider. Anyway, this means that the biggest storyline of the offseason got more interesting, which is where the hell is Aaron fucking Rodgers going to play? Because this means, again, Saints don't have a quarterback, and now they have a salary cap. So will Mr. Aaron Rodgers go to the Saints, or will he go to the Pittsburgh Steelers like everybody expects him to go? So far, nobody knows shit about fuck. We don't even know if he's going to play. We don't know if he's going to wait until somebody gets injured. Nobody knows anything, but it feels like the Steelers think he's gonna play with them. I don't know. It was weird, but whatever.
Whose court is the ball on in that regard? Like, it's
Aaron Rodgers.
So he's just the one dragging his feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's 100% in control here.
So what's the deal with the Jets? Do they got to pay him?
No, I think they just let him go.
Well, I'm assuming he had a contract.
I'm assuming they gave him the guaranteed money.
All right.
The other big news is one Mr. George Pickens got traded to the Dallas Cowboys. So we will not get the joy of watching George Pickens and DK Metcalf on the field at the same time, starting a Royal fucking Rumble. It sucks. It's unfortunate, and we return to the Steelers having the most boring fucking games ever. But anyway, let's go talk about the draft a little bit. And since we're going to talk about the draft, we have to talk about the big story of the draft, which I fucking hated. And that is one Mr. Shedeur Sanders dropping to the 5th round to the Cleveland Browns. Now, for those of you who don't know and who are pretty much lucky enough not to have heard about this fucking story the entire fucking draft, Shedeur Sanders is the son of Deion Sanders. He's a quarterback that we're expecting him to go in the 1st round, but he dropped all the way to the 5th round, probably because he's kind of a piece of shit. Is that fair enough?
From what I don't watch college football. From what I hear, he's just all right. Like he's pretty good, but like I don't think he was elite level or anything. And I heard that he had some pretty bad interviews with some of the teams.
And he didn't get an
He
agent.
made-
So that was the big story of
Yeah.
the draft. And to me, the big thing that came out of his whole saga is that Mel Kiper is insane and you can't trust him anymore. Like Mel Kiper, have you seen the videos of him losing his shit?
No, who's that?
Mel, he's a talking head, but he's after the Saints did not pick Shador Sanders, he started losing his shit. Like, no, they don't understand. The NFL does not know how to evaluate quarterbacks. We do, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, come on, guy. It's like maybe you might be losing it a little bit there. I think the NFL knows how to find quarterbacks. I'm pretty sure that they do. But, you know.
I like who was it? I think it was Stephen A. who said Stephen A. Smith who said it was basically a conspiracy against Deion Sanders because Deion was saying like, oh, if we don't like the team that he's going to, he's not going to play. Basically like Eli Manning.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL was like, fuck you, Deion. So all 32 owners, they got together, and 31, Green Bay doesn't count, and they all got together and they're like, we're collectively just gonna like not take him.
Nah, I don't believe it. It's
I don't buy it for a second.
no, it's first off, there's a bunch of teams who did not need a quarterback, so the collusion would have to be between one of the teams who actually needed a quarterback.
I did not like that. Yeah, that being used as a talking point where it's like 32 teams passed on the Shador Sanders, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you got fucking Patrick Mahomes on your team, and you got like Josh Allen, and you got Justin
Joe
Herbert,
Burrow,
like,
yeah, you don't need it. And so you don't, first off, you know what? Fuck this topic. It's not a conspiracy. Who cares? He may not even play a snap ever because he's now the fifth string QB for the Browns, which, by the way, we'll talk about the Browns. So do you want to do the Chargers, or you want to go a little bit about every team just really quickly if you feel like they got better or worse? Or
well,
let's do the Chargers.
With the Browns, it reminds me of you remember the story, the She-Wolves of Winterfell?
Sure, yeah.
It sort of reminds me of that with all the QBs.
Yeah, all right, so let's talk about
I want there to be like a Hard Knocks.
So let's talk about the AFC North really quickly. So, overall, Ravens, good draft. Steelers, meh. Bengals, meh. I felt like they needed more defensive players. And the Browns. So,
oh no, they're going full glass cannon.
So the Browns did something interesting. I think it was stupid. And at the same time, I get it. Like, them getting Gabriel on the 3rd round and Shador Sanders on the 5th, I think it's a bad idea. Because you have 5 quarterbacks in your depth chart. One's not playing, and so you're gonna have to spread snaps between the other 4. And
What do you think the play there is getting some draft capital for the future?
They also have they traded back, so they got a draft pick for next year. Which, by the way, we'll get to the trade back. So they have 2 first rounders next year. So the Browns have been in quarterback hell for a very long time, a hell of their own fucking making, by the way. So no pity here. And so they were like, all right, we're getting an old vet. We're getting a Super Bowl winner backup. We are getting like a 3rd round QB who we think could be a starter. And we're getting Shador Sanders just for it. And if none of those work, we have 2 first rounders next year that we could probably trade to get Archie Manning or whoever, somebody else who's good. So they're like,
is next year Archie Manning?
I think if he could be, I don't know. Maybe he'll play another year. But so it's one of those things like, okay, good on you guys. It maybe sounds like you're getting your shit together. However, how long will Stefanski keep his job? You know, it's like if you have a bad season this year and having to deal with all the stupid media annoyance of asking about Shador Sanders, how's Shador doing? I don't know if it was the best decision, but, respect. You got to get that position right. So, good luck. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't care about the Browns, to be fair.
Fair enough. Chuck
And-
Dominguez says, hey, at least
yeah.
Sanders didn't get involved like LeBron James, so his kid can go with the Lakers to me. LeBron James is the Aaron Rodgers of the NBA. Maybe. Oh, there's also another thing. Deion Sanders is a coach. So there's also this thing about if you're a coach and you're drafting high, that means you're in a bad team. That means that your job is probably kind of on the line. Do you want to bring in Shedeur Sanders and then maybe lose your job next year to Deion Sanders? I don't know. But anyway, moving on to, again, now the AFC South. The Jaguars trading up all the way to number 2. So first off, and getting Travis Hunter, maybe like the best player in the draft, right? First off, kudos to Clowntown. It's a new administration. It's a new head coach, new GM. You made a big, bold move. You probably overpaid because you were not one Travis Hunter away from winning a Super Bowl. But you know what? You wanted splash, you got splash. So
Overall, 1 thumb up.
okay. The Texans, I think they needed more O-line help. The Colts, I don't even know. I don't care about the Colts. And the Titans may have the quarterback of the future, Cam Ward, the first overall pick. Other than that, everything was fine. Like,
Didn't the Colts pay like $40 million to freaking Daniel Jones?
I don't know. Yeah, I think they paid too much, but whatever. AFC East, Buffalo Bills basically got all defense. The Jets had a boring draft, which is good. They're building the trenches. The Patriots, I've heard everybody say, had a phenomenal draft. So they could have the biggest turnaround this season. In fact, I think they will probably have. It's between them and the Raiders who have the biggest turnaround this offseason. We'll see. And the Dolphins.
Trust Rebel.
What?
I trust Rebel.
Yeah, and the Dolphins, they were okay. Vrabel, there you go. NFC South, the Falcons did not get a quarterback, which was disappointing. However, they did get 2 pass rushers. They even traded up into the first round with the Rams to get a second pass rusher. And so, maybe they could have gotten one last year. Who knows? But it was interesting. And now they don't have any draft. They had like 4 draft picks. So, you know what? Best of luck to the Falcons. Buccaneers.
No best of luck to them.
Buccaneers were okay. Saints were okay. Panthers were okay. Blah, blah.
Saints were okay until they lost their quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, they were in cap hell anyway. They weren't going to do anything. They got Brandon Staley as their defensive coordinator. They were going to be trash anyway. The NFC North, Vikings okay. Green Bay Packers, it was a big deal that they got a first-round wide receiver for the first time in a century.
20 years, yeah.
Yeah, and his last name's Golden, so everybody's excited about that. Detroit Lions, okay. Chicago Bears supposedly had a really good draft, but the Chicago Bears are always the offseason champions. And those fuckers got Colston Loveland, the player that I wanted for the Chargers, but fine, whatever.
Great name.
Yeah, hopefully things turn around for them. NFC East, the Eagles fleeced everybody once again somehow. The Cowboys had a regular boring draft. The Commanders supposedly did okay. The Giants supposedly did okay. Finally, the NFC West, the Rams gave up.
Do the Eagles have the best manager in football?
Yes, probably the best GM.
Yeah,
It's
insane. How does he keep doing it?
It's between him and the Chiefs, probably, to be honest. But all right, the LA Rams, they hate first round draft picks. They hate them, and so they traded with the Falcons out of the first round. They fuck the first round. Too much pressure. We don't need this, and they traded out. They got the hell out of Dodge, and so now they have 2 next year. So far, they did okay. Like the Rams have had a really good offseason. It annoys me that they could have had a better draft, but whatever. The Cardinals, their defense looks like it's going to be very, very scary. The Seahawks supposedly had a good draft, and the 49ers supposedly had a shit draft, like disgustingly bad, like probably the worst. It was between them and the Bengals who had the worst draft. So, as far as I've heard,
I will officially declare the 49ers window closed.
Yep. And so now we move on to the AFC West. So Chiefs, supposedly good draft, right? They got the best left tackle, blah, blah, blah. Stoop, they got a good wide receiver, blah, 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 blah. Chiefs, whatever. They could have gotten shit, and they're going to make it work because they're a stupid, well-run organization. The Raiders supposedly had a really good draft. They had a ton of picks, and they were high picks. So supposedly the Raiders did a lot to get better. They went with the supposedly best running back in the draft, Ashton Genty. It was a bizarre pick because, I mean, the Raiders are not one running back away from being a contender, probably. However, the Raiders now have probably, or maybe the best tight end in the NFL, or at least the one with the most upside right now. They could have one of the best running backs. So they have one of the best pass rushers. So they're slowly getting annoyingly better. So they have a Super Bowl winning head coach. They probably have a healthy, good fucking culture there. So
they can't have him for that long, right?
So it infuriates
he's
me.
up there in age.
It infuriates me, but let's just say, don't be surprised if the Raiders steal a game from you. Like, it could happen. Broncos, they got the best cornerback in the draft probably, so now their defense is extremely scary. They might have
fly zone.
They might have the best defense in the NFL this season, at least, on paper. On paper. So right now, if I have to guess, I'd say that the biggest, all right, I think that the Broncos and the Raiders are bigger threats to the Chiefs because they have more pass rush, at least right now on paper. But I think that the Chargers are more of a threat to the Broncos and the Raiders. Does that make sense?
We got a rock, paper, scissors thing going on?
Yeah, but I still think the Chiefs have an advantage over the Chargers. But we'll see. So let's move on to the draft that we care about. So we're talking about the Chargers, right? So Chargers.
Yeah, we could.
How did they do? How do we feel? How are we feeling? So round 1, they got running back Omarion Hampton. Round 2, they got wide receiver Trey Harris. Round 3, I believe nose tackle Jamari Caldwell. Round 4, edge rusher Kyle Kennard. Round 5, wide receiver Keandre Lambert-Smith. They traded back up on the round 5 to get Oronde Gaston, a tight end. And Branson Taylor is a lineman. RJ Mickens is a safety, and Tyreese Bridges is a DB. So basically, they got running back, wide receiver, defensive end. No. Yeah, interior defensive lineman, and edge rusher, wide receiver, tight end. So all of those areas of needs. Overall, honestly, my favorite pick was probably the round 4 pick, Kyle Kennard, just because he was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, and the SEC is a bunch of ballers. Like, the SEC is probably the best out of all the conferences in college, and so for him to be the Defensive Player of the Year, that's really good. Like, I don't watch much college. I'm just saying, just based off of that, but I watched a lot of stuff here, and I kind of understand what they were trying to do. So if you check the positions that the Chargers drafted, they were like, we need weapons, and we need a lot of them. So it's 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end. So, oh wait, no. 2 wide receivers. Was it 3? No, yeah. 2 wide receivers and a tight end. So weapons, and those were high picks. So weapons, and that's good. Unfortunately, maybe, but listen, I like the pick of Omarion Hampton, the running back, on the first round. I do. Would I have gone with somebody else, a position of bigger need? Maybe. Like, the way that the draft was falling for them, it was probably the best choice because the 2 tight ends that you may have wanted were gone already. The edge rushers were gone already. I don't know. The defensive ends were gone already. The linemen were gone already. And so what were you going to overdraft somebody else, or are you going to get the second best running back in the draft and probably the best running back for your system? So it's a great pick. I just I wanted freaking Coastal Loveland, but whatever. Doesn't matter. How do you feel about the draft right now?
Man, I feel okay. Again, I don't watch college, so for the most part, I just have to go by accolades and whatever numbers that they have. And for the most part, it seems like these, you know, seems like it's a pretty good draft overall. I like that we're getting young wide receivers in there. We're probably gonna have Mike Williams, be sort of a mentor, sort of like try to get these guys up to snuff, because we got to build them up quick. And uh, it's just, I guess I'm just more upset about the free agency. I wasn't too impressed by it. So I feel like we could have made better moves there that would have set us up for the draft. But for the most part, I feel like there's way more of a chance to miss when you pick offensive weapons like a running back or a wide receiver than there is if you get like a good edge rusher or whatever.
You see, check the Mingus. That's right. Broncos have a great D. If the refs don't get involved like this season, the FC West games are going to be great to watch. Yes. So here's, let's see. Right now, I don't think that this is not going to be the final roster. They're freaking Joe Ortiz gets players out of retirement and all that stuff. So it's probably going to change a little bit. Right now, I think the team is better, deeper than it was last season, particularly the wide receiver room. A lot. Do I feel like this is their year? No. It could be, but, and again, it depends on injuries and stuff like that, but I feel like they took a big step in the right direction because now they have the weapons, right? So last year they needed everything. The thing that they had for sure was a kicker and a quarterback, and Derwin James. Pretty much that's it. They had a leader in the defense, a leader on the offense, and a leader in special teams. Right now, this draft is like, okay, this was the weapons draft, right? So you got your running back of the future probably. I'm still hoping that they get J.K. Dobbins back because Najee Harris, J.K. Dobbins, and Omarion Hampton in the same as your three-headed monster sounds phenomenal, right? That could be great. You got a bunch of wide receivers now. So it's like you got the weapons now. You're maybe one or two drafts away. Maybe you need a quarterback. You need a cornerback one. Maybe you need a center for sure, the center of the future. So it was a great step in the right direction. I think they just might be one season away from actually being like, okay, now you're a top tier contender. But it's moving in the right direction. And if many of these guys hit, holy shit. Like last season, well, just look at it this way. So last season, think about the tight end room. No, the tight ends room. So the tight end room, your number one catching tight end was Will Disley, who all his career was a blocking tight end. Now you got Conklin in free agency, and you drafted Oronde Gaston, who everybody's like, dude, this guy's basically a giant wide receiver playing tight end. So he's got good hands. So you feel better about the tight end room. Wide receiver room, we traded Mike Williams for Joshua Palmer. I'll take that trade any day, especially because the Chargers really needed an X. You drafted Trey Harris, who is an X. So now you got Trey Harris, who will learn from Mike Williams, one of the best X's out there. You got Keandre Lambert-Smith, who's supposedly a speedster. So you're going to be deepening the field. So it's now DVs have to play back, and if you have a good running game with freaking Omarion Hampton, if he's as good as they say, and we know Najee Harris breaks tackles, so you need to stack the box. What's going to happen? You're stacking the box to stop the run because you have legit running backs. You have guys who are stretching the field on the outside or just with pure fucking speed. The middle is going to be open, and the middle is the area of the tight end and Mr. Ladd McConkey. So I like that. The issue is, man, I would have liked more interior line. Now, I've heard a breakdown saying that basically it's not so much that the interior line sucked. It's more that Herbert didn't have any weapons to throw the ball, and so they just kept stacking the box and, trying to kill him every single play. So we'll see. I mean, I trust Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman when it comes to O-line, so we'll see what happens. But at least I feel better about the offense generally. The defense, we'll see. There's a bunch of really young players out there playing and really old players playing, but we'll see. They were one of the top 10 defenses in the league last season, but they played a bunch of shit teams and a bunch of shit quarterbacks. The times that they did play good teams with good wide receivers and good quarterbacks, they got their asses kicked. Mainly the Tampa Bay game. And so we'll see. Like
the Ravens.
I think that the defense may take a step back. Honestly, it's all going to be about the defense. So if the defense takes a big leap forward, then I'm sure that the offense will be fine. Like, yeah. What do you feel?
I don't know. I feel like if I was gonna give us a grade, it's probably we had a B minus of a draft, and it could. Well, it's kind of a thing where it's like it's too unknown. Like, cause it's either gonna be what?
No, I'm gonna go with an A, and just cause you got positions of need, and supposedly good players in them, and what I mean by supposedly is you got the guy that you wanted. So supposedly, well, I mean, they could be lying, but what I heard is that they wanted to get Trey Harris round 1 even, but they were like, no, he's going to be there round 2, calm down. And they ended up getting him. So you got the guy who you wanted even maybe round 1 or top of round 2. You got him exactly where you were. So that's good. The Omarion Hampton, like Jim Harbaugh was just basically drooling when he was talking about him. Like, he's a big guy. He's like he's a great runner, blah, blah, unstoppable. And he never gets injured. Jamari Caldwell, everybody was saying was a reach, but when you hear the way that they talk about him, they were like, the defensive line coach, he was looking at another player who played for the Oregon team, but he was like, oh yeah, Grant was really good, but that nose tackle, man, that nose tackle. So the defensive line coach, that's the guy he wanted. Kyle Kennard, like I said, defensive player of the year. So once you look into it, it looks pretty good, and positions of need, maybe more development for the future, but still, they did hit on 2 5th-rounders last year. So the scouts know what they're doing. Ortiz appears to know what they're doing, and the thing is, they're not afraid to cut people. So that's actually pretty good.
And, part of the thing that gives me a little, I don't know, optimism is the fact that I don't think the scouts know exactly what they're doing all the time, or maybe it's just. So, for example, there's the argument that if Tom Brady had been picked on the first round, he may not have become Tom Brady. Right?
Sure.
And I think because that was part of his motivation as a player. He's like, these motherfuckers drafted me in 199. I'm gonna fucking prove everybody wrong.
I don't know.
So that does light a fire under your ass. That's why I think maybe this could be good for Shedeur Sanders.
I don't know. What I've heard so far in the drafts is that the Dylan Gabriel guy is beating him. But whatever. We'll see. The point is, I'm excited for the season. First game of the year is going to be in Brazil. It sounds like it might be against the Chiefs.
Cowboys, I think?
No, I mean for the Chargers.
Really?
First,
okay.
Yeah, it's going to be the Brazil game. It looks like it might be against the Chiefs. We'll find out tomorrow, which is stupid. It's stupid. They were saying that today they were going to announce all the international games. But if you look at the international games calendar, the Chargers game is like opponent announced tomorrow. It's like, what the fuck? But it doesn't change anything. I just want to see what
clicks.
I just want to see what video they make. I'm just excited for that. But I think, is there anything else you want to say, NFL? We're about to get into the most boring part of the offseason.
I can't think of anything. This is honestly my least favorite time of the year for the NFL because since I don't watch college, I just sort of have to speculate on what other people are saying, and a lot of these commentators are fucking dumbasses. So what the fuck do they know either?
Yep. So really quickly, AFC West, who wins it?
Chargers.
All right. I agree. Chargers. Second place?
I'm
gonna go Broncos.
That's probably the Chiefs, but the dark horse, pun intended, might be the Broncos.
I'm going to go Broncos on this one. Like I said, I think the Broncos have an advantage over the Chiefs. The Chiefs might have an advantage over the Chargers, but the Raiders also have an advantage over the Chiefs. So we'll see how that goes. AFC East, Buffalo Bills, second place Patriots.
Bills. Yeah, Bills second place Patriots. Yeah.
AFC North, Ravens, second place Bengals.
This one's kind of interesting because
The Steelers don't have a
don't know.
quarterback.
Yeah, but they might get Rodgers.
Yeah, but as of right now. As of right now.
As of right now, yeah, it's the Ravens.
Okay.
Who's the official quarterback for the Browns?
Right now it's Joe Flacco, I think.
Okay, Bengals number 2.
All right. AFC South, Texans, Titans.
I'm gonna say Texans, Jaguars.
Okay, listen. Let me just remind you. The Titans lost like 10 games because Will Levis was a fucking moron who could not stop throwing the ball. Like the first game of the season, I think the head coach was like, if we would have just punted the ball the entire second half of the game, we would have won. So it's yeah. So I'm gonna give the titties a shout out. NFC South.
Maybe I just haven't forgiven them for DeAndre Hopkins.
Maybe. I'm gonna go Bucks, Falcons.
I'm gonna go Bucks. You know, the Panthers did start getting their shit together at the end of the year,
Sure.
so I'm gonna go with them because fuck the Falcons.
All right, fair enough. AFC North. This is tough. I'm gonna go.
It's not the Bears.
No, it's not the Bears. I'm gonna go Lions. Lions, Packers. They got a wide receiver.
Yeah. Who's the quarterback for the Vikings again?
JJ McCarthy.
Lions. Oh man, are the Lions gonna be the same without the freaking OC
They're not.
and
They're not gonna
DC?
be the same. No.
Packers are mostly the same, and they were already pretty good, and they supposedly got some good players. I'm gonna give the edge to the Lions, I guess, but this is the closest margin
Okay.
for sure.
NFC East. Eagles 1, Commanders 2. That's easy.
Correct, and I could even see a situation where that flips because I'm pretty impressed with the Commanders.
All right, fair enough. And NFC West. I'm gonna go Rams, Cardinals.
I'm gonna go Cardinals, Rams.
Really? Interesting.
I like the defense movements.
Yeah, I like the Seahawks too, but I mean they. Who knows what Sam Darnold's gonna be? But okay. So do you want to stop there? Do you want to stop there, or do you want to do a little Taco Tuesday?
We're going for like hour and a half, right?
So you want to stop?
I
I'll let you.
think so.
Yeah, I'll let you. Okay, so you don't want to.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll try to set up some things for anime
Right
for
now?
the next episode.
Okay, so next episode we're doing anime.
Yes, and I'll try to set up some good recommendations from
Dude,
the guy who's watched way too many damn.
I've
anime.
watched so much fucking anime. You have no idea. Just on the Border Crossing alone, I've watched so much fucking anime. You have no idea. And good
My
ones.
recommendations are going to be a little more classics, but yes.
I've watched some classics, like a Record of Lodos War. Overrated?
Is it Lodos?
I don't care. That's how it's spelled. Lodos. I think that's how they say it. Lodos.
Lodos.
Do you want me to mention real quick what I'm watching?
What are you watching right now?
All right, so let me just do this real quick.
NANI?
All right, so I kind of just wanted to do that. So it's going to be really quick. Really quick. It's going to be like 5 minutes. So as I mentioned before, I just heard about Andor and I was planning on watching it recently, but I didn't because I actually got captivated by another show. Right?
Really?
Yes. The show that I got captivated by is this one. I don't know if you've heard of it. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's called The Apothecary Diaries.
I've seen it on Netflix. I have not seen it.
Okay, the latest season is coming out right now. I think it's season 2, but it's like 24 episode seasons, which is great. The show is phenomenal. Really interesting. You want me to give you the premise?
So it's about a girl who's really into botany and stuff, and the prince of a feudal Japan or something hires her. Something like that?
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. First off, it's never so far. At least I didn't notice, and I think it's actually China, because the music's all Chinese.
China.
Yeah, and so it's a girl who's an apothecary who gets kidnapped and sold to work in the rear palace of the imperial palace. So basically, where all the concubines live, and basically her skills get discovered, and she starts working for one of the head concubines there. So there's a bunch of intrigue and mystery going on there. There's a bunch of political drama, a bunch of poisonings and stuff. And so she has a nose for trouble and gets involved in a whole bunch of stuff. It's very interesting because to me, the fun part, forget about the main character is likable. There's a bunch of different mysteries going around and all that stuff. But the really great part for me is you get to see kind of the inner workings of the Forbidden Palace, which is really interesting. And it's I'm kind of, right now everything's a fucking isekai, so it's nice to show that it's not an isekai at all. It's actually, character from that world doing stuff from that world, and obviously it's probably not the way that China or the Imperial Palace worked or the Forbidden Palace, but you kind of get to see a different look because it's a Japanese guy telling you how that worked. So it's pretty interesting. That part alone to me is great. The cultural mannerisms, the way they hide their faces sometimes, the political intrigue. It's really interesting in that way. And again, the story's fun, characters likable. There's a bunch of mysteries going on. You learn how to make a buttload of poisons. So I recommend it. It's enjoyable.
Very useful.
It's very useful information. Let's see. Chuck Dominguez says he's rewatching Gungrave. And another show that I recently watched that I did not expect it to be good. Not at all.
Okay.
And again, by the way, this one, highly recommended. It's airing right now, I believe. Season 2, it's got like 5 episodes left, maybe. Fun, enjoyable. It's got a dub if you prefer the dub. But either or, they're good. I saw an episode with the dub, and I saw the sub, and they're both good. The voice acting is actually pretty decent. The other show that I was like, I'll just have this one in the background and ignore it while I'm doing other stuff. And The Ascendance of a Bookworm. Now, this is a fucking isekai. Yeah. So,
it has the title of an isekai, yeah.
Yes. It's super interesting because you get to learn how to make books. And so, basically, here's the premise. Girl was a bookworm.
You know what I love and I hate about anime?
You learn how to make stuff?
No. You just know that they're gonna be able to make even the most mundane shit super interesting.
Yeah, it's like laid back camp. I gotta go camping now. You made it look so much fun. But anyway.
Yep, they know how to fucking sell.
So again, this one I needed something that I could have in the background when when I'm doing something else, right? And this one was dubbed, and I've heard good things, but I was like, whatever. Another isekai that I can ignore. Girl was a librarian, dies, gets transferred to a little girl's body in this world. There's subtle hints about magic in there, but it slowly progresses. But the interesting thing here is it's a world without books, and she wants to make books. And so it's kind of like she's putting all the knowledge that she has from our world into creating stuff in that world. And so it's very interesting to see again, with the political intrigue of that world and all that stuff and how things manage there, how a lot of things are made. Because she makes shampoo. So now I know how to make shampoo. Right? So and she makes it from scratch because that world doesn't have shampoo. And stuff like that. And so it's, again, interesting in a way that I was like, I was supposed to be ignoring you. I was supposed to just have you in the background and while I'm doing other stuff. And now I'm like, I stopped doing the stuff.
You were supposed to be the side piece.
Yeah, I stopped doing the stuff to actually pay attention to you. And actually, this show got me thinking, like, I'm going to categorize isekais, right? Because there's the, you get transported to another world with your own body, but you're alive. There's the, you get transported to another world because you died, but you're still in your own body. There's the, you die in your world, but you get transferred into somebody else's body, like this one.
Reincarnated as a blank.
There's the reincarnated one. And so, which one am I missing?
Well, no, that's it, right?
I think so.
You get transferred with your own body, but you're still alive. You get transferred in your own body because you died. So let's say like, freaking Konosuba.
Mm-hmm. By the way,
or freaking
speaking of, did you see Konosuba season 3? The OVAs that came out?
I did not.
Dude, it's phenomenal. Like, you need to stop what are you doing right now and watch Konosuba. Like, season 3 is hysterical, but the OVAs that came out are so fucking stupid. They're just so fucking stupid. Like, I was up at 4 a.m. today doing the border crossing, miserable, out of my mind, and I put it on. I was laughing out loud. I was laughing out fucking loud. I was like, this is great. I'm so happy I'm here. I'm so happy I'm watching this right now. So I highly recommend it. Let me see.
All right.
Checking is rewatching Gungrave. Gungrave is great. Would you say you ever watched Gungrave?
No, I didn't.
Did you watch Trigun?
I did.
Okay, I believe it's the same studio, or same creators. I need to look that up, but it's great. I recommend it. Anything else I need to say? No, so those are the two ones that I watched. That I did not expect to enjoy. Both of these are like 40 episodes, and so I just burned through them, not expecting it to actually enjoy it. So in case you were looking for something interesting or you wanted to learn how to make shampoo, there you go. That's it.
Well, I mean, I find it funny that you've adopted the isekai as your shit genre.
Listen, there's just so fucking many of them. There's just...
I know, that's why I dropped out of a lot of modern anime.
Well, no, but here's the thing. There's so many of them, and they dub them. So it's like a good background show because I know mostly it's going to be shit. There's a few good ones. Like Konosuba is a great one. Digimon is a great one. Jobless Reincarnation is actually really good. Mushoku Tensei. So there's good ones. And so,
you know, I think the thing that I hate about isekais is that it's a similar thing that I hate about Hollywood, which is they're just sort of thinking, I want to make a show about this, but I also need it to sell, so I got to make it an isekai because that's all the rage. So
yes,
also it's a very cheap way of putting characters in a world where you can have rules that don't make a lot of sense. But
video game rules.
You just justify it by saying, "Oh, he was transported to a video game."
Yeah, I know. It's very annoying. I've expressed not liking that stuff. Oh, you mentioned it. Solo Leveling. Did you watch it?
But you watch a lot of them.
Well, you know why? Because it's trash. And I can have it there in the background and ignore it. So I'm still like...
Yeah, you love the trash.
I love trash, man. I love the trash. And so you watched Solo Leveling?
No, I've heard a lot about it. I hear it's good. I've thought about it.
So, I really liked it. It does one thing that annoys me that once you see it, you'll figure it out immediately. It's like one thing that really bugs me. But I read the manhwa because it's supposed to be the Korean one. It's not manga, it's manhwa or whatever how they say it. And they do find a way to...
an ugly language.
They find a way to justify it eventually. So it's like, okay. So this thing that usually annoys me, you found a way to justify it. Fair enough. I don't love it, but fair enough. The show's cool. The animation's cool. The fighting's, it's hype. They handle hype, right? Which is not always the easiest thing. So it's okay. It's good. In fact, you should watch it. You'll enjoy it.
I've been mostly reading manga lately because I've been catching up on the Chainsaw Man
Okay.
Manga. Man, that shit gets wild.
You know what's the one good thing about manga?
It's in color.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is it that the freaking South Koreans can do it, but the Japanese can't? Is it just because tradition now, or they're just lazy, or what?
No, I think it's part of the fact that the Japanese bring out a new chapter every fucking week because they're fucking insane. Like, if you look at freaking comic books here in the West, it's not just one artist, and one issue takes them a month.
Damn.
But they separate writer, sketcher, inker, and coloring, and then that's 4 different jobs. That's all one person in Japan. Well, without the color.
In a week.
And in a week.
All right, fair enough.
And the stories are even better.
Fair enough.
And people complain when the pacing is just like, this chapter wasn't like the pacing is just like a bit out. Dude, come on, give him a little bit of a slap. That's also why I don't like reading week to week, because people get really overly judgy on like if this one chapter wasn't that great. Oh yeah, I prefer to just read a whole story or read a whole arc.
I do the same thing. So there's a bunch of manga that I read, but I like giving it like a month or two before I actually just go in there again to read it, because some of them release every other month, some of them release every other week, some of them release weekly. So it's a nice little surprise every once in a while. It's like I just come back. And by the way, I almost went into something, but you said you wanted to be done, right?
Yeah, my voice is about to.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm starting to feel it too. But all right, okay. As always, comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at DariusDW, and that's Super Dario. Well, thank you for joining us. Hopefully, you know what? This wasn't the best way to do it, to be honest. Like live stream where we just took a whole bunch of random stuff and just went around aimlessly. Like, I get it. It's stuff we needed to cover because we did promise we'd do the Switch too. But let's just go back to our regularly scheduled programming where we just speak about one thing. How about that?
I didn't even talk about all the things I want to talk about the Switch too.
Well, why didn't you?
Or no, you wanted to move on. It's like, all right.
Why didn't you say no?
Listen,
I got more to say.
You have like 2-minute rants, and eventually I forget what you said at the beginning. So it's like, what did he say? I forgot what I was gonna say about that.
All right, well, what's one thing you really wanted to say about the Switch 2? Well, I got the image right here. I'm gonna stop the music.
Oh, you had the music going?
Yeah.
You see, this is kind of my favorite part of the podcast, when it just sort of breaks down and we're just up and personal with people.
Just say what you wanted to say.
This is where the real fans are. Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it day one because I just want a stronger Switch, so I don't care. Honestly, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, that's actually better. I was like, this fuck. Are you gonna camp out?
No, I don't think so.
All right, good. Actually, I think it's already sold out everywhere, so I don't think you're gonna get it.
Actually, you know what? I don't like the look of it.
It looks exactly the same.
It looks kind of lame.
Fair enough. I can see
It
that.
looks like the same, but kind of just worse.
Yeah, more vanilla.
As long as it's better quality, I'm not gonna care.
Fair enough.
But
yeah, I hear you. Right, let's stop. I already said all that other stuff. I already told them what not to buy. So next time we doing an Otaku Tuesday where you have your ideas still set up. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to get those out of the way because I had them top of mind, and I already had the images set up.
Because we'll be out of NFL content for a while.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about other normal stuff, but we'll figure that out because again, our schedules don't always match up. But as always, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.